Hello there, BookTube. My name is Daniel. Welcome back to my channel, Guilty Feet. I've got no rhythm, and today I want to do announce a series of videos that I'm planning to make, and also share it with the rest of BookTube, and encourage and invite other people to make similar videos. And this is based on a couple of things that I've done in the past, which I've had positive reactions to. So one of them, I've done a series, not a series, but I've done a number of different videos where I've done a deep dive into an author that I've read multiple books by. So I did a whole thing on Jhumpa Lahiri. I've done something on James Ellroy, and I get sort of a lot of positive feedback when I go through each of the books that I've read, and sometimes 7, 8, 10 books by an author, and I talk about where I got them and how I came to them and what I remember them, if anything. And then the other thing that I'm then crossing this over with is a video I made last week, or in the last couple of weeks, about accidental authors. And I want to be clear, when I talk about accidental authors, it's not a reflection at all on the author and the quality of the work. When I talk about accidental authors, I'm talking about authors that I've accidentally read. These are the rules that I'm deciding. I'm going to call an accidental author. There have to be at least 3 books, a minimum of 3 books that I've read by the author. And another rule is that all the books that I've read by this author cannot be part of a single series. So those are the rules. To describe an accidental author, it's somebody I've read 3 different books by, and not that the 3 books can't all be connected. Or if I've read 10 books, it can't all be 10 books. If you've read 10 books by an author and 7 of them are one series and 3 of them are another series, that is kind of an accidental author, because you started something and you end up in something else. But 3 books and they're all in a series, or 7 books and they're all in a series, or in some cases 40 books and they're all in a series, like Edmund Bain. I've read 42 of his 87 Precinct novels, but I haven't read anything else. That's not an accidental author. Okay, those are also examples of accidental authors, just to give you the idea. So this would not be an accidental author. I've read 3 books by Pat Barker. She won the Booker Prize for The Ghost Road, and I went back and read. I started at the first in the Regeneration trilogy. This is not an accidental author. This was a project where I decided I was going to read all 3 in order to enjoy the Booker winner. I've got Regeneration, The Eye in the Door here, and The Ghost Road. That is not an accidental author. But I have also 3 books that I read 30 years ago from Milan Kundera. This is absolutely how I read The Unbearable Lightness of Being. I may have bought this together with Laughable Love. This may have come as a set from a book club I joined. So would have been on the verge. But somehow I've gone out and bought another book, Immortality, also by Milan Kundera. This is all those 2 have got dates in them from 1991. This is 1993. So it's 30 years since I read any of these, and I consider Milan Kundera an accidental author on my shelf. I've got 3 books. I remember Unbearable Lightness of Being better than the others, because I remember seeing the film also with my cousins, being very embarrassed because it's quite sexy. But beyond that, I'm not the biggest fan of Milan Kundera, and somehow I've acquired and read 3 books by him. So that is an example of an accidental author. There can also be non-fiction accidental authors, and this may appeal to other people. People who read non-fiction aren't necessarily as tied to the author as they might be. They might be tied to the subject, and yet somehow I sort of follow all this, and I've read 3 books by James Gleick. So this was a very popular book back in the mid-90s. This is a book on chaos and chaos theory, and it's got some interesting images as well as a lot of science that went right over my head. It was a popular book. I picked it up. I believe that I read every word in January '96. So this is when we emigrated, came to Israel. I must have bought this the week before I moved to Israel and brought it with me to read when I was here. I don't remember much about it. I remember it going completely over my head and not really understanding, but feeling clever because I'd read it. Then he puts out a biography of Richard Feynman, who I was interested in. I've read 2 of Richard Feynman's books, his telling stories, and so I read James Gleick's Genius, which is a just straightforward, terrific biography of Richard Feynman. If you have any interests, highly recommend it. But this is when Gleick tips over for me for being an accidental author, because I've read another book by James Gleick, Faster, which must have been, I bought this here, I must have been looking for a book, got into a bookshop, seen an author whose name I recognize, who I've read before, and said, yeah, I'll read another sort of popular science or interesting book about by James Gleick. So James Gleick absolutely qualifies as an accidental author. That's the setup I'm going to make a video with my first. I'm going to go through all my books, which are all here in alphabetical order, and go through author by author, finding authors that I've read at least 3 books by that aren't all part of the same series, and that's what it'll be. And hashtag accidental author. I would love all of you. I'm not going to tag anybody, but if this appeals to you in any way, please share with me who your accidental authors are. I think it's about how we read and how we return to authors that we've not been disappointed by before. It's not about finding your favorite author. It's about the sort of comfort of going back to a safe haven. This was a safe pair of hands. This was a book. I read it. I didn't throw it across the room. I'm going to read another book by the same author. It's that kind of feeling. And sometimes there may be progression. Sometimes there may be diminishing returns. That's what I want to hear about. If you have accidental authors, please. We can make a short video where you take you through the reading, and let's take it from there. I'm going to wrap this up, and then I'm going to make a video with the first of my accidental authors. Hope you like this. Bye.